Hey, what's up YouTube? We got a bunch of trees to plant. There's Emerald Ash Borer tree replacement program. They just dropped off our allotment of trees, nice and free from the government. One of the good things government does. So we're gonna plant 150-ish trees today. It's gonna be a fun day. Alright, so this is what we get. Pretty nice sized maples, I gotta say. So these are a bundle of maples. They come bare root. This is really what you want because you can plant them and spread the roots out. You really want to get bare root if you can. And then you want them as young as possible as well. And these are white oak. So you can see white oak is just a massive deep tap root. So you can, these are kind of the ideal age. I know they look really small, but this is really the ideal age for a white oak because you want to get it where you can still get most of the taproot or all of the taproot and then plant it in the ground so it'll keep driving deep because these oaks need to be very sturdy. So now I'm going to stick them in the water. Alright, so here's a little pond, artesian well overflow. Pretty nutrient rich pond. There's constant flow so it doesn't stay anaerobic and stagnant. So I'm gonna soak all of the bundles of trees in here. Each one of the bundles is 25 trees. So, you know, bundle, some tamarack, some spruce. So I'm gonna soak these all in the nutrient rich water, get the roots nice and soaked, and then plant them out. Not for too long, just 20 minutes or so for the ones I'm planting. The longest ones will be in the water for maybe an hour or two. But they'll be totally fine. Now they also came with these mulch mats, which is really nice because they decompose and then they'll keep the grasses down. And then, you know, a couple years they'll be gone, maybe even less than that, maybe a year. And then I'm going to mulch them all with wood chips anyways, because remember, trees want fungally dominated soil, so you don't want to just, ideally you don't want to just plant these into grass and then have this smother the grass. Ideally you want to transition the soil to a fungal dominated soil with a nice fungal compost. This is my own compost here. You know, there's still charcoal and sticks and twigs in there. I don't filter it out for this. I would filter it out to a smaller size if I was putting it in a garden because and planting, you know, lettuces and stuff like that, but this is going to be perfect for trees. So let's get some in the ground. We're just going to heel them into the compost here so they stay nice and moist. Okay, so when you're planting a tree, you want to typically dig a hole that's roughly 1.5 times the root ball. Now, this is more if you're planting a tree in a pot, but what I want to do with these roots is actually get them spreading out as far as possible in the other direction. What I don't want to do is have this root sitting like this, where it's just going to circle around and really strangle itself out as it makes that bend and the root gets thicker over time. You know, you can really see how that would hamper the tree. So you want each root to be going in roughly its own unique direction. So I'm going to really spread these out. Next thing you want to do is find the root flare. The beginning where the roots come out, and you want to watch for where the trunk starts to thicken and widen. That has to be above the ground. Trees actually don't want to be buried too far down. So you want to set the height of the tree such that the roots are underground, but that root crown is above the ground. Okay, so then what you want to do is you want to firm around the tree. You're going to water this in to get all the water out, and then we're going to put the mulch mat down, and then we're going to mulch it with wood chips. And that's it. Okay, so I planted all the oaks and maples. So this is the front food forest swale. this thing is just loaded up. It's gonna be a bit of a crazy mess in the next 5-10 years. It'll be fun to watch. So we got oaks and maples pretty much every 8 feet or so. I might thin them at about 10 years to, you know, thin half of them out. You can see the daffodils are coming up nice. Things are starting to bloom. Raspberries are starting to bloom. Around the grapes and lilac, we've got an oak and a maple planted, so they will become the overstory of that little guild. And here, actually, just to go even further, this whole drip edge, there's pawpaws and currants and elderberries, strawberries planted all in here, raspberries. And now we have oaks at roughly 20-foot centers between the maples. We have another maple planted at the base of that maple on the south side. And that will become that'll just grow up alongside this guy. And when he or she finally gives way, there'll be a tree already ready in the ground, probably 10 feet tall, 15 feet tall to take over. Every 20 feet or so, maybe every 10 feet, there's another oak or a maple as well in here. Lots of elderberries and currants. This is going to be a really neat guild to kind of watch come through. There's a multi-graft pear, there's some black locust and some Siberian pea shrub for nitrogen fixing, daffodils, bunch of herbs. I'll just keep adding in, see how it grows. Lots of currant cuttings, elderberry cuttings. See how that grows in the next couple years and fill in all the spaces. You can see some places where I don't have mulch yet, where I did plant oaks and maples, and I'm going to basically sheet mulch this area afterwards. This will eventually become like a tree tunnel, and I will kind of prune out the trees so that they make a little tree tunnel to walk down through. Should be really nice. Here's some raspberries, so you know I'm not lying. Raspberries are coming. Pretty cool. You see I got cuttings everywhere. Here's, for example, an elderberry cutting all snuck in through there. I probably won't get a super high success rate chance on those, but I needed to prune anyways. So even if I get 5 or 10%, it's all free trees. This is going to become a little sub-guild here. So we got gooseberry, maple, oak, and it basically goes maple, oak. I've leaned them all to the north side, and I will help them get out from these power lines. I want them really coming out and reaching up, so I'm gonna kind of train those as the years go by. And then we have elderberries and currant cuttings all through here. We've got raspberries from when I dug the swale out and propagated them out here. We've got lilac, sea buckthorn, seaberry, bunch of lamb's ear. There's a whole bunch of stuff like comfrey planted in here that'll pop up. Ground cover of clover, and we've got sumacs volunteering back up. Those are great food for the bees as well. So fleshed out this front guild with a few trees. You can see here I planted them a little closer together. That was on purpose to get a living wall up here as soon as possible, just to kind of keep my dogs from barking at everyone who walks by. And then we have food planted for them and they can snack on it if they want. So what's really fun about all this is that I have these trees now, another 150 trees just growing passively in the background of my life. So I'm busy with school, I'm busy with kids, you know, I'm not out here maybe all the time. I come back and I remember to check on some of these trees. I remember how small they are, and then you get to see them kind of grow up. It's really rewarding. And what's really fun about all this too is this whole entire swale and food forest strip. I really want to get it from 2 strips. I want to really expand it. I want to get it to feel like a full thick forest when you're in there. It's going to take time for the trees to grow, but I'm kind of slowly moving the stones out a little bit every single year and creeping it into the lawn. Slowly, my wife doesn't want me to take over the lawn at all, so I'm kind of slowly moving the rocks every single year, and I'm going to take over that lawn and I plant more trees. One day she's going to wake up, it's gonna be trees right at the front door, and she's gonna wonder how it got there. So don't tell her. She never watches my videos, so if you watch my videos, then maybe you'll know my secret plans. So anyways, it's great fun. I spread 150 more trees. I see little, let's show you. Look at this. Look at all those maples coming up. You see that? So many maples coming up. So I'm gonna let tons of these grow, and then I can start transplanting them everywhere. You know, maybe not all of them, but I'm gonna transplant tons of them. I'm gonna let those little seedlings grow up and form a ground cover. So that's gonna be a really beautiful ground cover. Past caps are coming up. I'm gonna be making jam probably in another maybe month or so. You know, it's a great life. I really want to get across to you guys. If you have any lawn, any land, start planting those trees, man. It is just so much fun. Like I said, it's that, you know, the excitement that every single day you wake up, you can go out and check your trees, and you can go out and check what's new on your land. You can go check, you know, this thing, this forest that you seeded, that you were the genesis of, and this thing is just sitting there growing in the background of your life. It's so fulfilling and rewarding. 5 years pass and your trees are giants, and you just think, wow, like I did that. And you have birds living in your trees, you have squirrels and rabbits are moved in, you start to see some owls, like, you know, you start that trophic cascade, and you realize that you were the one that started all that. That is just, there's few gifts in life that are that powerful and profound. All right, spruce are in the ground, just right there. That one will grow nice and big and kind of overhang this little pond. I thought that would actually, you know, that might be a nice little effect. And I don't really care if there's no liner in that pond, so I don't care if it punches through. That's totally fine. Another spruce in the hugelkultur bed. This bed's going to be very busy. Tamarack, 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 spruce, tamarack, 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 tamarack. And another one back there, tamarack. It's going to be very, very busy. But that's good. We kind of want a wall. And then another spruce there. So this is going to be a nice little pine area. The grading gets really wet here, so the tamaracks are going to love that moisture along that channel, kind of soak it up. Should be pretty nice. So down here in the wetland guild here, sun is on the other side of the cedar, so you can see it gets quite dark in the afternoons in this area. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera. It's very dark. These ones, I was a little lazier. You can see I didn't mulch them, but these are oaks. So oak there, oak in this berm here on the swale. There's water running through it, and then oak up on the hill. That would be my champion oak. If that thing grows on top of that hill, it'd look really cool. So, you know, if you're watching this 100 years from now, I planted that tree. Nice little effect here of the daylilies coming up. I don't know if I showed you any of this yet this season, but the daylilies, I lined both beds, and I also lined both beds with comfrey. So that might pop up. It might have been too hot in these beds, and it might have cooked them. But that'll be a nice little border, I think. Raspberries, more raspberries waking up. And on the edges of these beds, I put oaks as well. So here's a little guy. This bed is now becoming more fungally dominated. It's been sitting around. It was horse manure and shredded leaves. Clover spread into it, and Jerusalem artichoke. Sorry about the camera there. So this bed started very hot, bacterial dominated. I didn't plant trees in it, and now I've kind of really planted out to trees. So that's pretty much it. I'm not going to show you guys everything that I planted and everywhere I planted, because it was 150 trees. So it would take forever to show you guys everything. But I just want to say a huge shout out and thank you to the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority for donating these free trees. This is the second year that I've picked some free trees up, and I have oaks and maples everywhere. The squirrels are going to love that, and, you know, I may never see those things turn into giants, but whoever inherits this land after I'm gone might. And I don't know, I think it's something worth doing. It took me a weekend and I planted 150 trees. It took me maybe 5 or 6 hours. I kind of babied them a little bit. So I don't know, it's a worthwhile endeavor. Got to get more trees planted. Got to save our planet. See you next time. Thanks for watching.